You wake up every morning believing you're free. You make choices, follow routines, chase goals, and tell yourself you're in control. But what if I told you that almost nothing you do is actually your decision? What if every belief you hold, every desire you chase, every fear you carry was planted in your mind by someone else? You've been programmed since birth to be a perfect slave. And the worst part is, you don't even know it. You think your thoughts are yours, but they're not. You think your dreams are authentic, but they were sold to you. You think you're living, but you're just performing a script written by systems designed to keep you docile, distracted, and dependent. This isn't about conspiracy theories. This is about the invisible chains that bind your perception, the mental prison you've never questioned because the bars are invisible. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that the most effective control isn't physical, it's psychological. The ruler who controls minds doesn't need armies. And right now, your mind is occupied territory. But here's the truth they don't want you to discover. Once you see the programming, once you recognize the patterns, you can break free. This video is your key. Not to comfort, not to entertainment, but to liberation. And liberation is painful because it requires you to destroy everything you thought was real. The first layer of your programming is the most insidious because it feels like truth. From the moment you could understand language, you were taught what to value. Success means money, status, recognition. Happiness means comfort, pleasure, distraction. Security means conformity, obedience, silence. These aren't universal truths. They're installed beliefs, carefully designed to make you predictable, to make you manageable, to make you profitable to someone else's agenda. Think about it. Why do you want the things you want? Did you choose them, or were they chosen for you by advertisements, by social pressure, by the endless repetition of what a good life is supposed to look like? You chase a career not because it fulfills you, but because society told you that's what success looks like. You buy things you don't need because marketing convinced you that products equal identity. You fear being alone because culture programmed you to believe that solitude is failure. Every single day, you're running a race you never agreed to run, toward a finish line that moves every time you get close. And when you finally stop and ask yourself why you're running, you realize you don't even know. That confusion, that emptiness you feel when you pause, that's not weakness. That's the first crack in your programming. That's your mind trying to wake up. Machiavelli would tell you this: the system doesn't care about your happiness. It cares about your compliance. It needs you productive, distracted, and too tired to question anything. So it feeds you just enough comfort to keep you quiet, and just enough fear to keep you moving. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of missing out, fear of being left behind. These fears aren't natural. They were engineered. And as long as you're afraid, you'll never stop long enough to see the cage you're in. But here's where it gets darker. The programming doesn't just control what you chase, it controls how you see yourself. You've been conditioned to measure your worth by external metrics: likes, followers, salary, titles, possessions. Your value as a human being has been outsourced to systems that profit from your insecurity. So you perform, you curate, you pretend, you create a version of yourself that fits the algorithm, that pleases the crowd, that doesn't make waves. And somewhere along the way, you forgot who you actually are beneath all the performance. You look in the mirror and see a stranger, not because you changed, but because you never knew yourself to begin with. You've been too busy being who everyone else needed you to be. Your parents wanted you successful. Your friends wanted you cool. Society wanted you productive. Your partner wanted you stable. Everyone had an opinion about who you should be, and you absorbed all of it like a sponge. Now you're a composite of other people's expectations, a mosaic of borrowed identities, a ghost haunting your own life. And the tragedy is, you think this is normal. The second layer of programming runs even deeper. because it operates in silence. It's the voice in your head that you believe is you, that constant narration, judging, comparing, doubting, planning. You think that's your authentic self, but it's not. It's the accumulation of every authority figure, every traumatic experience, every societal rule you internalized. That voice doesn't protect you, it controls you, it keeps you small, keeps you safe, keeps you from ever stepping outside the boundaries of what's acceptable. Listen to what it says. Don't try that, you'll fail. Don't speak up, they'll judge you. Don't be different, you'll be alone. Every single one of those thoughts is a chain, and you carry them willingly because you were taught that this voice is wisdom, that it's protecting you. But protection from what? From living? From discovering what you're actually capable of? The truth is, that voice isn't you. It's the prison guard inside your own mind, making sure you never escape. And the moment you recognize that, everything shifts. You realize you don't have to obey every thought that appears. You don't have to believe every fear that surfaces. You can observe the voice, acknowledge it, and then choose differently. This is the beginning of deprogramming. Not silencing the voice, but seeing it for what it really is. An outdated security system running on fear-based programming from a version of you that no longer exists. Now, let's talk about the third layer, the one most people never reach because it requires brutal honesty. Your relationships, most of them, are transactions dressed up as connection. You were taught that relationships are about love, loyalty, support, and sure, some are. But most are strategic arrangements where people use each other to fill voids, to validate identities, to avoid loneliness. You're not loved for who you are. You're loved for what you provide: attention, status, security, entertainment, distraction. And you do the same thing. You keep people around not because you genuinely connect, but because losing them would hurt your image, disrupt your routine, or force you to face yourself. This isn't cynicism, this is clarity. Machiavelli understood that humans act out of self-interest, even when they convince themselves otherwise. Your friendships, your romances, even your family dynamics are governed by unspoken contracts. As long as you play your role, the relationship continues. The moment you deviate, the moment you stop being useful or convenient, watch how quickly things change. This doesn't mean people are evil. It means they're programmed too. Everyone is operating from their conditioning, their wounds, their survival strategies. But here's the key. Once you see this, you stop taking things personally. Betrayal isn't about you. Rejection isn't about you. Abandonment isn't about you. It's about them playing out their programming, just like you've been playing out yours. And when you stop expecting people to be something they're not, when you stop demanding that they fill the holes in your own identity, you become free. Free to connect authentically, or free to walk away without bitterness. The fourth layer is the most dangerous because it's invisible even to those who think they've woken up. It's the addiction to distraction. You've been conditioned to fear stillness, to avoid silence, to run from boredom. Because in stillness, in silence, in boredom, the truth emerges, and the truth is uncomfortable. So the system floods you with endless content, endless notifications, endless noise. It keeps your mind so occupied that you never have time to think deeply, to question seriously, to feel fully. You scroll, you binge, you consume, and you call it relaxation. But it's not. It's sedation. It's the digital equivalent of drugging yourself so you don't have to face what's actually happening inside you. Every time you reach for your phone when you're uncomfortable, every time you turn on a show to fill the silence, every time you seek external stimulation to avoid internal reflection, you're reinforcing the programming. You're training yourself to be dependent on distraction, to be incapable of sitting with yourself. And the system loves this. Because a distracted mind is a controlled mind. A distracted mind doesn't organize, doesn't create, doesn't resist. It just consumes and obeys. So here's your test. Can you sit in complete silence for 1 hour with no phone, no music, no book, nothing, just you and your thoughts? Most people can't. They'll panic within 15 minutes. Not because they're weak, but because they've never trained the muscle of inner stillness. They've outsourced their mental peace to external sources, and now they're completely dependent. Breaking this addiction is brutal. You'll feel anxious, restless, empty. That's withdrawal. That's your mind screaming for the familiar sedation. But if you push through, if you sit with the discomfort, something extraordinary happens. You start to hear yourself again. Not the programmed voice, not the noise, but the quiet truth underneath. The part of you that knows what you actually want, what you actually feel, who you actually are. And that voice, that's the one worth listening to. Now comes the hardest part. Once you see the programming, you can't unsee it. You'll watch people around you sleepwalking through life, chasing things they don't want, repeating patterns they don't understand, imprisoned by fears they never questioned. And you'll feel something strange: isolation. Because the price of waking up is loneliness. Not the lonely of being alone, but the lonely of being awake in a world that's still asleep. Your old conversations will feel hollow. Your old pursuits will feel meaningless. Your old relationships will feel like performances, and people will notice. They'll say you've changed, that you're different, that you're distant, and they're right. You have changed. You're no longer playing the game, and that makes them uncomfortable because your freedom reflects their cage. So they'll try to pull you back. They'll guilt you, mock you, question you, anything to get you to return to the familiar version of yourself that didn't threaten their worldview. This is where most people break. The pressure to conform, to fit back in, to stop being so intense. It's overwhelming. So they compromise. They go back to sleep, convincing themselves that awareness was just a phase, that ignorance really is bliss. But you can't go back. Once you've tasted freedom, even the most comfortable cage feels like suffocation. So you have a choice: live authentically and risk isolation, or live inauthentically and guarantee it, because pretending to be someone you're not is the deepest form of loneliness. Machiavelli would tell you this: the crowd will never understand you. And that's not a tragedy, it's liberation. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You need only one thing: the courage to be yourself in a world designed to make you someone else. And that courage isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the daily decision to honor your truth, even when no one's watching, even when no one cares, even when it costs you everything you thought you needed. So what now? How do you actually deprogram? It starts with awareness. Every day, observe your thoughts without judgment. Notice when you're operating from fear, from conditioning, from someone else's script. Notice when you're performing instead of being. Notice when you're chasing things you don't actually want. Just notice. Don't try to fix it yet. Just see it clearly, because you can't change what you can't see. Second, question everything. Every belief, every desire, every fear. Ask yourself, is this mine, or was this installed? Do I actually want this, or was I told to want it? Am I afraid of this because it's genuinely dangerous, or because I was programmed to fear it? Most of your beliefs won't survive this interrogation, and that's good. Let them collapse. What remains after the questioning is what's actually real. Third, reclaim your attention. Your attention is your most valuable resource, and it's been hijacked. Take it back. Limit your consumption. Create more than you consume. Spend time in silence. Disconnect regularly. Train yourself to be comfortable with boredom, with stillness, with yourself. This isn't about becoming a monk. It's about becoming sovereign over your own mind. Fourth, redefine success on your terms. Stop measuring yourself by external metrics. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Stop letting society tell you what a good life looks like. Define it yourself. Maybe success is peace. maybe it's creativity, maybe it's solitude, maybe it's love, maybe it's something you can't even name yet, but it's yours, and no one else gets a vote. Fifth, accept the loneliness. You will lose people. You will be misunderstood. You will be called selfish, crazy, cold, difficult. Let them talk. Their opinions are based on their programming, not on your truth. Surround yourself with the few who understand, or walk alone. Both are infinitely better than surrounding yourself with people who need you to stay small. And finally, understand this. Deprogramming is not a destination. It's a practice. You'll catch yourself slipping back into old patterns, old fears, old performances. That's normal. The programming is deep. It took years to install. It'll take time to uninstall. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the moments of clarity, forgive the moments of relapse, and keep walking. The silent rebellion isn't about overthrowing systems. It's about overthrowing the system inside you. It's about reclaiming your mind, your time, your life from forces that convinced you they belonged to everyone else. It's about becoming ungovernable, not through aggression, but through awareness. And when you do that, when you truly break free, you become something the system can't handle, a person who doesn't need what it's selling. You've made it this far, which means something inside you is already awake. You felt the truth in these words because you've lived the prison. The question now isn't whether you'll wake up, it's whether you'll stay awake. Because staying awake requires courage. It requires you to stand alone when everyone else is sitting. It requires you to question when everyone else accepts. It requires you to live when everyone else is just surviving. If this resonated, if you felt the uncomfortable recognition of truth, then leave this phrase in the comments. I choose awareness over comfort, not for the algorithm, but as a declaration to yourself, a reminder that you've seen the cage and you're choosing to walk out, even if the door leads to the unknown. And if you're ready to go deeper, to continue dismantling the layers of conditioning, subscribe. This channel isn't about entertainment, it's about excavation, digging through the lies to find what's real. Remember this, the freest person in the room is not the one with the most options, it's the one who needs nothing from anyone. And that freedom starts the moment you stop letting the world program your mind. Go now, see clearly, live authentically, and let your silent rebellion begin.